Dash. Salakia for that. Had this Ephraimite, older Ephraimite cat. He was talking to me, and you know, I could tell, he wasn't, he just wanted to talk. So, I decided to stop the lesson for the time being. Kicked it with him for a little bit. We talked a few, I talked to him about a couple of things from the scriptures, and he wasn't coming against it, but I could tell that he's pretty much set in his ways. But he got a good heart. You know what I mean? So just on that alone, the Lord could have mercy on him, deliver him. But we'll see. It's in the hands of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. So, as the name of the lesson is, hard times are coming. We're gonna go back to Second Ezra's. I'll read the 6th chapter, the 22nd verse. It says, "And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown; the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty." And that's what we're witnessing right now, is this whole disruption of the the supply chain, and this is what's happening. And there's a lot going on. And this is why we're a body, because there's a lot going on, a lot of different things to report on. But we give like a basic overall understanding of these things, because we're not going to be able to name every little thing that's of being short, in short demand, or whatever the case, or short supply, but we give like an overall broad spectrum of the whole thing, because it's pretty much, if boils down to everything being short. So this is what we see happening. The farmers are catching hell, the supply chain is breaking down, and this is what's pretty much bringing a slow stranglehold on the world of this great hard times that are coming. It says, "And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid." And people are going to be nervous because of these things. Like what happens when they say there was a shortage in bathroom tissue, toilet tissue. What happened? Everybody went out and bought mountains of toilet tissue where you couldn't find toilet tissue. And then when you did find it, the prices were higher because, there was a short supply. There weren't that many. Then it went into the alcohol, to the peroxide, different things like that. Then you had a surge in masks. Notice they never had a shortage of masks. They barely didn't have, they had masks out there, but they never had a shortage of masks. They never had a shortage of protective gear out here, but they had a shortage of so-called toilet tissue and so-called, alcohol and things like that, which eventually that just was a trial run for when they say, well, there's a shortage of this, or this is going to happen, or prepare for the next 3 days, so on and so forth. People are going to go crazy and go and wipe out the store, of all of that food that's there. And there's only about 3 days supplies of food in each supermarket when you go there. So much so you don't even see it no more. Before you said, well, limited to 2 items per person. You don't even see that anymore. You could buy now as much as you want. So it's just basically a cat and mouse game, between the international banking families and the people of the world, and this is pretty much the Lord using the pawns on the in the world to make his moves. It says, "At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies," because the Lord said that, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. It says, "And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run." Yeah, there's going to be droughts, as you see going on right now in the West, Midwest. There's a lot of droughts going on, which those droughts are affecting, the wildfires, but they're also affecting farmers. you know, and whatever bit of crops that they might have that they are still able to grow, that's affecting that. So that's all a part of those fearful constellations, you know, the breakdown in this supply. Because at the end of the day, the Lord said that his word doesn't go out void. Whatever he said, spoke about, is going to happen, it's going to come to pass, you know. So the Lord is making many moves and making one move. Like there's a term, you know, killing two birds with one stone. Well, the Lord kills many birds with one stone. And this is what we see happening right now with this whole disruption. Because what it is slowly breaking down society, and it's also slowly breaking down and bringing this whole thing into the time of Jacob's trouble. Because that's ultimately what it boils down to. It boils down to two people on the planet. It boils down to the Edomites and the Israelites. You know, the Edomites are in rulership. The Israelites are not. You know, we catching hell. Time of Jacob's trouble is coming. Once the time of Jacob's trouble comes, then the Lord has to intervene, you know, to deliver his elect, you know. And that's when it'll be checkmate, especially when they start pushing the MOB, which is the microchip, you know, upon the world. And if by this point you can't see that the MOB is the microchip, then you're either blind or you sold out. There's no other way around it. There's no in-betweens. You're either blind or you sold out. It says, whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape, see, and see my salvation in the end of your world, because there are certain things that have to happen before the Lord can bring the end of the age. When you read up above, in this same chapter, it says that Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, meaning that the Edomites would be in power at the very end when Yahushua would come back. Isaiah 34, Isaiah 63, 2 Ezra 6 are some of the scriptures that lets you know. The whole book of Revelation, the dragon with the 7 heads and 10 horns, you know, that's all a part of the Edomite beast system. So no matter how you slice it, you know, the Edomites would be the last ruling nation on the planet before Yahushua comes back to establish his throne upon the earth. So if that's the case, that means that the people that are ruling, which beyond a shadow of a doubt, we know who that is, you know, the Edomites, the so-called white people, you know, they are the Edomites, you know. But then you'll have these individuals that have come up like Vocab and the rest of them clowns that say that the Edomites was done away with. They're no longer around because they're trying to get away from the fact, biblical facts and physical facts, that the people that are ruling this planet are the Edomites. And it's funny because the International Bank of Families know. Even the Rothschilds, sometimes they claim to be either from the house of Israel or David, or from the house of the Edomites. And they know that they're from the Edomites. They know that they're not Israelites. They know they're not from the house of David. They're from the house of Adawam, or the Edomites. All right. It says, and the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth. This is talking about the elect. And the heart of the inhabitants, meaning of the pretty much of the elect, shall be changed. Why? Because there's going to be a new meaning given. As to at one point the world was covered by lies of the lies of Esau, beginning with the Renaissance period. Now the hearts of the inhabitants are going to be changed, because the elect are going to start to see what's really going on. And you have those out there that are not a part of the elect among the Edomites and other nations and out there that are so-called truthers, as they call themselves, or whatever they call themselves, that are seeing and witnessing things that are wrong in the society. And they're doing videos, having these alternative media stations, these different podcasts and different websites that are speaking on these situations, that are speaking on these things, you know. So for the most part, a lot of people are waking up. Even Jakes, even like just average Jakes out there, are saying things, are going into current events and actually speaking on things that the average Jake at one time would even speak about. Speaking about China, and the reason why there's a war going on is because of, you know, Taiwan, because, you know, Taiwan is a major hub, a major economic stronghold or infrastructure to China, you know, and they're trying to keep that hold, and the Taiwanese people are trying to break away from it, you know. So there's a whole lot of things going on that Jake is starting to be privy to, you know, and they're doing research and they're studying, you know, and they're starting to surprise you. Some of the things that come out of their mouth, you're like, okay, all right, this man knows something. But the ultimate knowledge is the knowledge of the scriptures, the knowledge of the prophecy of these scriptures, you know, that give the actual sense and truth of what's really going on in the world today. So it says, and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. Yeah. And that's why these devils are going to make a last-ditch attempt in deceiving the whole world. But it says that if it were possible, they're going to be so convincing that if it were possible, they should deceive the very elect. But it's not possible to deceive the elect because they are the elect. It says, as for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth which hath been so long without fruit shall be declared. And this is what we're witnessing right now, the truth being declared on the earth. The word declare, D-E is de or of, and clear is where you get the word clear. So made clear or of clear. So it's going to be declared, or it's going to be made clear because of the things that are being witnessed. You know, that's what the scriptures say, that the Israelites shall no more, you know, stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon the Holy One of Israel in truth. Because the truth is really what's going to set us free, as Yahushua said. And the Lord is using the truth to break that yoke from off our necks. You know, that yoke of blindness that Jake has, because it's not so much as a physical bondage that Jake is going through today. It's more so a spiritual blindness that Jake is going through, and that blindness is being lifted up on the elect. And you have even some Jakes out there that may not be a part of the elect that are waking up to certain truths. But the ultimate truth for Israel is to wake up to the actual truth of the scriptures, you know, of the things that are being taught. So let's go real quick to the book of Matthew, real quick. And I may have to make hot tracks over to this tree over here. Damn, what happened? Oh, Salakia. I just didn't set up over there because of that truck that's there, you know. But I may have to make some moves because, you know, it's getting a little hot out here. And, you know, I didn't have enough hands to bring, you know, all the stuff with me. So just bear with me as we make some moves, you know. So walk with me. All right. I think I got everything. All right. Let me give you a nice view of the park. Let's see right there. There you go. All right, so let's get back into it. This is the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter, and the 3rd verse. And see, these are keys, because when you read the scriptures, there's a lot of things that are said, but the Spirit has to be with you to be able to see it. You know? And even some of these wacky-tacky Christians, they speak about these things, but yet still in all, they really don't, they can't see the full picture unless the Lord opens up their mind. Just bear with me 1 second. All right, Matthew chapter 24 and we're just going to go straight to the point. Verse 3. It says, "And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, what shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?" So they wanted to know when all of these things that they were waiting for were going to take place, so that they can be established in the kingdom of heaven, because that's ultimately what the prophets and the men of the Lord always look for, was the kingdom of heaven. And when you read the scriptures, the consensus was that once the Messiah came and suffered what he had to suffer, then the Israelites will be placed in the kingdom of heaven. So that's why a lot of them thought that back then that the kingdom was soon going to appear, because of the things that were going, and because the Messiah was there. And that's why Yahushua said, the kingdom of heaven cometh not with observation, for the kingdom of heaven is within you. You know, and that means that the Israelites made up or make up the kingdom of heaven. You know, the actual physical land and the buildings and different things like that, that's just that's a part of the kingdom of heaven, but the ultimate kingdom of heaven are the Israelites. You know, so when you look up this word, what is the sign of that coming and of the end of the world? That word world there goes back to the Greek word eon, which means an uninterrupted rule, an age. In the Latin is seculi, you know, which is an age. That goes to the Hebrew iwalam, which is age, you know, an uninterrupted rule. So every empire had their chance to rule, and every empire had their flight, so to speak, their pinnacle, their height of their empire, and every empire had their downfall when they were brought down from their rulership. Now, when the kingdom of heaven is established, Yahweh's kingdom / Israel's kingdom, is going to be an everlasting kingdom. It shall never be brought down ever again once it's established. You know, so this is what the prophets have always been waiting for. So now let's go from there. Let's go back to the Apocrypha. Let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16. And Yahushua spoke, actually, Salaki, let me read a little more. He said, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And we see a lot of that going on. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're saying that they're the Messiah, but they're so-called anointed. You know, that they're endowed with the Spirit. And a lot of them are not. That's why the scriptures say, try the Spirit by the Spirit. It says, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. And that's why you're seeing these so-called pandemics, or whatever the case may be. You have these different so-called diseases, viruses, you know, whatever they may be, happening because it's the Lord doing it. Now, the so-called, you know, the Crown Royale, you know, that you see going on, has different variants, and one of the variants is the Delta variant, which your brother sent me this earlier, which it's funny because we know this, but you know, it's sometimes it takes someone to isolate it to really bring it to light, because the new so-called variant they got out there is the Delta variant, and Delta, right, goes back to the fourth letter in the Greek alphabet. You know, you got alpha, beta, gamma, delta, right, which goes back to the fourth letter in the Hebrew alphabet, Abagada, which the word da, the symbolism for it is Dalath. The word Dalath means door, because this right here could be the door to the New World Order. You know, when they push that out there, and people start getting sick from that, because a lot of people have been jabbed, a lot of people's immune system has been compromised, a lot of people have been poked through the blood-brain barrier with that wooden Q-tip, you know, which allows things in and allows things out, you know. So this could just very well be the door that they're opening up, the Pandora's box, to making a real serious pestilence jump on people, so to speak, you know. So, you know, we waiting to see, but it's no coincidence that that word means Dalath and that they calling it that. When these devils called the space missions that they were doing Apollo, there was no there was no mistake, should I say, of why they used the word Apollo, because the word Apollo is a Greek word which means destruction. And why did they call it that? Because they were on a mission to go where? To so-called space, all right, or to space, to the so-called moon, because they never made it to the moon, you know. It's funny because they passed by. You know, I had to make moves because, you know, that brother could talk, you know. So I said, man, I gotta get on up out of here. And they just drove by. I thought that he was gonna see me, but he didn't. He was cool, but, you know, I had to make a move. But there's no coincidence that they call it Apollo, because the word Apollo means destroyer. Now, why did they call it that? Because the Lord said that if the heavens above can be measured, you know, and sought out, and the sun and the moon and the stars stop shining, then will the Lord do away with the nation of Israel. So their mission in searching space is not searching for new resources that can benefit the people of the earth. No, it's searching out the heavens so they can say, Lord, you said that if we searched out the heavens and we found out everything that's up there, you have to destroy the nation of Israel. But that's not going to happen, because the Most High pretty much was being facetious, because he knew that these devils couldn't do not one of those things. Because they haven't searched out the whole earth. So how and they are not able to search out the water. You know, and these are things that are here on the earth. So how in the hell are they going to search out the heavens? So that's why they called it Apollo, or destroyer. You know? Then you had what? Challenger. Because they're challenging the Most High. Endeavor, which means to try, you know, to make, to put an effort into it. Because they're trying to destroy the nation of Israel. The real Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, and wherever they may be scattered around the world. All right? So let's go to 2 Ezra 16 and 17. We're going to read a couple of verses and then, call it there. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days, because there's going to be great tribulation in these times. And the prophet spoke about these things. The prophet seen it. The prophets got sick because of these things that they saw. It says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. See? Great mournings. So hard times are coming. It says, the beginning of famine and great death, because a lot of famine causes death. And there's going to be a lot of death just based off of famine. But that's not going to be the only pestilence, so to speak, or the only thing that's going to bring great death. It says, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. Who are the powers? These different governments. Because this is going to get out of their hand. It's going to come to a point where they think that they have it all under control, order out of chaos, order out of chaos, but it's going to get out of their hands, because the Lord, which is using them, is going to, as Elder Yahshua always says, is going to slap the controller out of Esau's hand. And he's going to direct everything, even though he's directing it while they're doing it. But they think that they're doing it, and they think that they have it under control, but the Lord is going to make it go in a different direction than what they expect. The beginning of evils, what should I do when these evils shall come? Yeah, because our hope is that the Lord will deliver us in these times, because we're doing the best that we can, in doing this work. You see? And that's why the prophets not only prayed for the destruction, but they also prayed for mercy for themselves when the destruction came. It says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish, hard times, are sent as scourges for amendment. So a part of the problem, or these hard times, is going to be famines on top of everything else. And that's what you see going on and what's happening. That's why you see the disruption of the food supply. That's why you see the disruption of the farmers. You know, these different droughts, whether man-made or not, they're all of the Lord anyway. So we seeing what's happening around the world because it's the Heavenly Father's time to visit the earth. And all of these things were spoken of thousands of years ago. And we're witnessing them happening right now. And the Spirit always has me say, there's always been wars. There have always been famines. There have always been pestilences. There have always been all different manner of things happening upon the earth, but never on this scale. And never in clusters like we see going on right now. Because this is the time for the Lord to take this place out. You see? It says, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Yeah, because that's Jake. You know, you go back to Haiti, what was that, 2005 if I'm not mistaken, that great earthquake. Everybody's trying to find God, you know, trying to get right with the Most High. But what happens? After things go back to so-called normal, they go right back to what they were doing. I'm not sure if that was 2005 also, when the levees broke, you know, and that whole, you know, New Orleans was all jacked up, messed up. Everything was, you know, there was anarchy in the streets, women getting raped, you know, people getting shot and killed. I mean, just all manner of hell going on. And they, back then they was sorrowful and, you know, and looking to the Most High. But then what happened? Everything went right back to the same shit that they've been doing the whole time. So they're not always going to be mindful of them scourges. The scriptures say that in the time of prosperity, you forget about the times of anguish, in so many words. You know, so this is why when the Lord brings it, He's going to really bring it to where people are not going to be able to recover from it. You know, because that's going to be the ultimate judgment. Salakia. It says, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. Yeah. They're going to think that, oh, things are going back to normal. Everything is cool. Everything is you know, is on the up and up. The so-called economy is, you know, recovering. It's not recovering. All that's happening is that the money that's being given to these people, which they think is free money, when they spend it into the economy, it gives a false hope that the economy is getting better. But all that's happening is that that same money, the same dollars, are being put back into the economy. You know, are being put back into the economy. And that's causing the existing dollars to be cheapened even more, which creating the illusion of rising prices. But it's because you got to pay more dollars because there's more dollars in that economic soup that's being watered down day by day. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth. So it's going to be more evils growing upon the earth. People thinking now that everything's starting to level out, you know, starting to kind of get some type of normalcy. But it says, even then shall evils grow upon the earth. Sword, famine, and great confusion. Because people are going to lose it. Like Gerald Celente always says, when people have nothing to lose, they lose it. Yeah. It's going to be survival of the fittest. It's going to be hard times. You know, they're going to be in straits, positions of difficulty. You know, trying to rationalize in their mind what the best solution is for them to get food, for them to get shelter, for them to get clothing, for them to get water. Because you got to remember, and this time it's going to be a luxury to be able to take a hot shower. See, people don't think about that because everything is at you know, at your beck and call right now. The internet. Back then you used to have to go to the library to dig up stuff. That's no longer. Do you think people have the patience now to go to a library and actually dig stuff up like they did in the past when you got your cell phones and your high-speed internets, where if people have to wait 1 second extra, they lose it? You know? I've had people say, "Well, oh, yeah, you want to use my computer?" Oh, no, no, you don't have the high speed. Oh no, you know, because they can't wait like they used to back in the days, because everything is convenience, everything is speed. So the people, the average minds of the people are conditioned to speed, quick, everything quick like that. You know, I don't want to wait. And this devil, Jaden Smith, says impatience is a virtue. No, it's not. That's a new commercial. Impatience is a virtue. Impatience has never been a virtue. Patience is a virtue, not impatience, but they're pushing that. Because everything that's right, they're pushing it to be wrong. And everything that's wrong, they're pushing it to be right. Woe to him that calleth evil good and good evil. It says, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And that's what's going to go down. You're going to get away from one situation and run into another situation. Just like in the book of Amos. It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung. For the amount of shit that you can see out there is going to be the amount of dead bodies out here. And it's going to be a stench. You know, some people go into a bathroom, you know, a public bathroom, and if somebody done took a nasty shit, and you say, oh, hell no, I got to get up out of here. Well, just imagine that being everywhere you walk, just stench of dead bodies. You know? It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. Yeah, because there's going to be, you know, there's going to be lockdowns and shutdowns and different things of that nature. You got to remember, everything that we've witnessed so far has just been trial runs. And they're seeing that it works beautifully for them, you know? So they're just waiting for the right crisis, which I don't know what that right crisis is, you know, more riper than what they have. But they're waiting for something to really just put the lockdown on everything. Because that's what the New World Order is. Everyone locked down and moving at the whim of the international banking families. You know, the few in charge of the many. And in that, you know, the culling of the herd, you know, the killing off of pretty much the majority of the people on the earth to a manageable size. It says, there shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men. And right now, as we speak, you know, you're having these people that are quitting their jobs, you know, these so-called fast food jobs and things of that nature to get better jobs. And they're going to be in a quagmire, you know, because what they're really doing is they showed brothers that sent this video of this Jake woman. I think she was a young Judite woman. I believe she was a Judite, if I can remember right. And she was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And then she turned the camera around, and there was an actual robot, you know, cooking burgers and taking the burgers off, you know, and making actual burgers and pulling them off, and they were cooked perfect, you know. So that's going to open up the window for that. You know, the robots don't need to take breaks. You know, they don't get sick. You know, they don't need vacations. You know, so it's you know, that's opening up a door for that. Less overhead. They don't have to pay the robot. All they got to do is maintain them. It won't take much to maintain them. So it's very interesting to see what's going on in these days, man. So that one man shall desire to see another, and to hear his voice. For of a city there shall be left 10, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. As in an orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives, or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard, even so in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. Yeah, because things are going to get so desperate, people are going to kill other people for what they have. It says, and the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel there through. Yeah, because once these farmers are not able to farm anymore, what you think is going to happen to that land? For the most part, it's going to be grown over, because there's going to be no need for them to plant these big crops if they're not going to make no money off of it. They're going to resort to a smaller portion of the land and make food for themselves and for just the immediate families around them, maybe. It says, the virgins shall mourn having no bridegroom, the women shall mourn having no husband, their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. In the wars shall the bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. And this reminds me of Isaiah the 3rd chapter, towards the end, where it speaks about these things. And it says, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, when these calamities start to come upon the earth. And these women are going to get in order right away, overnight, you know, because the problem is that there's too much liberty given to these women, and it's the wrong type of liberty, to where they think that they're in charge. They think that they run things, and that's the wrong thing to do, because they don't know what to do with that power. And this is why they turn out to be lesbians, and you have this heavy feminist spirit in the world. This heavy, women are equal to men, but now that they wanted, you know, the same rights for men and for women, and they got it, you got transgender men that think that they're women competing in women's sports and destroying women's sports, destroying these women. But that's what they wanted. You know, oh, it's not fair, he's a man. But wait a minute, didn't you want equal rights? Didn't you say men and women were equal? You wanted equal pay? Well, now that these men, transgender men, are going into these women's sports, they're destroying these women's sports. They're destroying these women. They're breaking their eye sockets. They're breaking their nose, their face, their jaws. And then they're throwing their hands up like they really believe that they were a fucking woman, fighting a woman. That's what you get. You want it, so you got it. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. Behold, the word of the Lord, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. And they're not slacking now. They're coming in clusters and in punches and bunches. It says, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. So we're coming to the point where the prophecies are moving fast and they're multiplying exponentially. That's why it's hard to keep up with everything going on. And that's why the Lord has a body out here of brothers doing these videos and reporting on these things that are going on, because these are all prophecies to bring the end of the world. It's a must. Scripture says we have a more sure word of prophecy. It says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. Why? Because it's the time of the Lord's judgments. Before he judges the ones that are in control, the Edomites, the other nations, 2/3 of Israelites here in America, and wherever the people are in the world that the Lord is going to bring judgment upon. Because the Lord said that when the Lord comes back, the slain of the Lord shall be many. There's going to be multitudes of dead people around the world. Because the Lord is going to really give it the real reset, the great reset, the ultimate reset. It says, "O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle." So how do we make ourselves ready to the battle? Not by getting guns or swords and none of that. By applying the things that we learned, so that when the time comes, the Lord can keep that hedge about us. And knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. And in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. So we're supposed to be as pilgrims, you know, not trying to, you know, better our lives as far as getting better homes. I mean, if you have a job and you have opportunity to get a better job, so be it. If you're if you're in a rat hole and you have an opportunity to get a better apartment or something like that, yeah, by all means. But don't say, you know, I'm going to invest all this money just in case, you know, I'm going to buy this house just in case. Then you're coming deceitfully. You know, you have an ulterior motive. You don't believe that this thing is going on, because if you have a plan B, so to speak, for just in case this doesn't happen, that means you don't believe in it. You know? Now, if you can better your situation, so by all means, just as long as it's not interfering with doing the work of the Lord. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise as he that have no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell there. And yeah, you have to treat this as if every day is the last day here. You know? If we get it, Lord's will, we get this accomplished, but Lord's will, the Lord will come and destroy this place and deliver us. Fuck that project that I was working on. You know? He that soweth as if he should not reap, so also he that planteth the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. They that marry as they that shall get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers. And therefore they that labor, labor in vain. For strangers shall reap their fruits and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses, and take their children captive. Yeah, there's going to be a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. You know, those concentration camps ain't there for no reason. Those detention centers are not there for no reason. The legislation is not in place for no reason. The movie, The Spook That Sat Behind the Door, when the dude was talking to I believe it was a mayor or something like that, he told him, look, the concentration camp, detention centers are already in place. The 1950 Subversion Act. You're talking about going back to the 50s. Before that, you had what? You had internment centers that were set up to place the so-called Japanese Americans in there because of the war. If they did that back then, you don't think they'll do it again? A lot of these empty military bases were turned into detention centers. You have privately owned prisons. You don't think them people want to make money? Prisons are not going to make no money if they're empty. It says, for in captivity and famine shall they get children, and they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities, their houses, their possessions, and their own persons, the more will I be angry with them for their sins, saith the Lord. Yeah, you Israelites trying to get the best of everything. You got to get the best. Inside joke. You know, you're going out there buying, you know, expensive suits and clothing and shoes and cars and homes. The Lord said the more you deck yourself, your houses and all that, the more angry he's going to be. The more his fury is going to lash out. Because it's not time for us to live like that. That time is coming in the kingdom. Right now, we were brought here to suffer. See, and if you're in a predicament where you got this world's goods, you know, it's your job to help, you know, brothers or sisters that you know might need it. It says, like as a whore envieth a right, honest, and virtuous woman, so shall righteousness hate iniquity when she decketh herself, and shall accuse her to her face when he cometh that shall defend him, that diligently searcheth out every sin upon earth. And therefore be ye not like thereunto, nor to the works thereof, for yet a little, and iniquity shall be taken away out of the earth, and righteousness shall reign among you. Yeah, because the Lord said that we look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. And that's going to be the ultimate, man. Once that's established, then this bullshit nightmare will be finished. It will be done. It says, let not the sinner say that he hath not sinned, for the Most High shall burn coals of fire upon his head, which saith before the Lord power and his glory, I have not sinned. Behold, the Lord knoweth all the works of men, their imaginations, their thoughts, and their hearts. which spake but the word, let the earth be made, and it was made. Let the heaven be made, and it was created. In his word were the stars made, and he knoweth the number of them. He searcheth the deep and the treasures thereof. He hath measured the sea and what it containeth. He hath shut the sea in the midst of the waters, and with his word hath he hanged the earth upon the waters. He spreadeth out the heavens like a vault. Upon the waters hath he founded it. In the desert hath he made springs of water, and pools upon the tops of the mountain, that the floods might pour down from the high rocks to water the earth. He made man and put his heart in the midst of the body, and gave him breath, life, and understanding. Yea, and the spirit of the almighty power, which made all things, and searcheth out all hidden things in the secrets of the earth. Surely he knoweth your inventions, and what you think in your hearts, even them that sin, and will hide their sins. And this is why the Lord is going to bring these calamities upon you. You know, and that's why hard times are coming. You know, so with that, I think that's a good place to end it. Like I said, once again, Salaki for the interruption earlier. But, you know, the Ephraimite brother, you know, he was, you know, in that mood to speak. And I knew it was going to kind of go on for a little while. So I didn't want to, you know, waste too much time, you know, leaving it on the camera. You know, because, you know, we just spoke about, you know, just different things, you know. But nevertheless, here goes the second part of the lesson. And Lord's will, it was edifying. You brothers and few sisters out there were edified. Till the next time I say shalom.